So recently, one of my followers sent me an article from Compact by Helen Andres talking about this new term, the Great Feminization. Now, I encourage you to go read the article, and I'll put a link to it down in the description, but let's be real for a moment. The only reason it's news now is because it's finally starting to hurt women. Because you see, men haven't just been talking about this for decades, they've been living it. So what is the Great Feminization? Basically, it's the slow, deliberate process of stripping the masculine out of everything. Schools, workplaces, the media, governments in every country and at every level. And of course, in relationships. The narrative being that women are perfect and men should either shut up, conform, or disappear altogether. Let's be clear. This isn't about men acting less masculine. It's about a culture that's decided that masculine traits themselves, things like strength, logic, leadership, competitiveness, and stoicism, were the enemy. And the result? They decided that the very things that built the culture we have are toxic and need to be done away with, need to be replaced by a society that's emotionally fragile, easily offended, and allergic to accountability. A society obsessed with feelings over facts, popularity over performance, and validation over virtue. That's the Great Feminization, and we're neck deep in it. For years, boys and men watched this shift happening in real time. We saw fathers erased from homes and the media. We saw schools punish boys for acting like boys. We saw universities turn masculinity into a mental illness. We saw workplaces reward compliance over competence. And when men spoke up, we were told to sit down and shut up. We were told that men universally, without exception, were bitter and hated women, that we were angry, lonely, and mad that the patriarchy was dying. Men were told that they weren't wanted and aren't needed and should just go away. All while claiming it's about tolerance and equality. Yeah, sure. Neither of those things has ever been what this was about. Simply put, for the past 50 years, men weren't fighting to dominate. They were fighting to simply exist. And when they realized that that fight was fruitless, they took the only option left. They walked away. Men have stopped playing the game. They've stopped dating, stopped marrying, stopped volunteering for a rigged system that punishes them simply for being men. They've walked away from churches that worship women and demonize fathers. They've quit workplaces that treat them like predators for simply talking to a female coworker. They've withdrawn their time, energy, and effort from a society that clearly told them, time and again, you're disposable. And now that women are finally feeling the effects, the loneliness, the collapsing dating market, the labor shortages, the loss of protectors, builders, and providers, now suddenly everyone wants to talk about the Great Feminization. Suddenly it's a priority. Suddenly the same women who cheered on Smash the Patriarchy are now writing think pieces about the male crisis. Now they're asking, where have all the good men gone? As if we evaporated into thin air. Sorry, sweeties, we didn't disappear. We just stopped serving a system that stopped valuing us. We stopped serving you. See, the irony of this whole thing is brutal. The very same ideology that told women they didn't need men has now also convinced men they don't need women. The same liberation that erased masculinity is now erasing femininity also. And only now that people are realizing it is it suddenly a problem. Because it is finally touching women. It is affecting them. For decades, women had every platform to talk about their struggles, real or imagined, while men had silence or shame. When women complained, they were brave. When men complained, they were whiners. When women spoke, the world listened. When men spoke, the world laughed. But now that the social order they built on anti-male ideology is starting to crumble, now that families are fractured, men are absent, and women are realizing that strong and independent doesn't build a house or raise a child, suddenly we're all supposed to care about balance again. Yeah, no, sorry. You don't get to burn the bridge and then cry that there's no way back. This great feminization didn't just weaken men, it weakened civilization. In fact, it destroyed it. Because when you remove the masculine from society, you remove the very structure that keeps it standing. When you shame half the population into silence, you don't get to act surprised when they decide to stop building the world you live in. So yeah, sure, now it's safe to talk about the feminization of culture. Now women can say what men have been crucified for saying since the 1970s and get applauded for it. Now it's empowering to say men are struggling. It's brave to admit that masculinity matters. Symbolic, isn't it? Men warned about this decades ago, and they were mocked, demonized, and dismissed. Yet every prediction they made has in fact come true. The truth is, we didn't just witness the great feminization of society, we lived through it. We survived it. And now, we're done apologizing for seeing it for what it is.